So we're learning Iggeres Hakodesh, chapter 13, and in today's lesson, God's abundant kindness is in store, not only for the individual whose character is likewise expansive. What does it mean, expansive? Someone whose character is kind, open, giving, always trusting Hashem that everything is for the best, but also for the God-fearing who is introverted. There are some people who are more on the side of Gevurah, so their fear of Hashem is more dominant. So that makes them maybe less kind and open to everybody. They're more like inside of themselves. They're like quiet. So anyway, here's the start of it. And this is the meaning of what was said by David HaMelech, peace be to him, who was the attribute of Gevurah. How abundant is your goodness, which you have hidden away for those who fear you. V'zehu she'amar David HaMelech alav hashalom, ma rav tuvcha v'gomer. This is to say that the attribute of goodness and chesed, which is in a state of concealment and hiding within those whose soul root derives from the left. That means Gevurah. Kloimar, shemidas hatov v'chesed, asher hi b'chinas helem v'hester, etzel kol mi sheshayresh nishmasei b'chinas smoel. And who are referred to as those who fear you. Hanikra b'shem yirecha. Resembling the above-mentioned trait of Beit Shammai, because we talked yesterday in the Tanya about the difference between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel always tried to look at halacha from the perspective of leniency, which meant they tried to find every possible way to make something allowed according to halacha. Whereas Beis Shammai was very strict and tried to make everything kind of restrictive, like more difficult to be allowed. So in the time of Gullus, we usually try to rule by the Beis Hillel, which is always be more lenient in halacha. But it's in the time of Geula that actually, because the revelation of godliness will be so great, so we'll be able to hold by Beis Shammai. Anyway, I'm adding that commentary. and who are we? So let's see. So as we're saying, that David HaMelech comes from the left side of Gevurah, which is referring to those who fear you, because Gevurah is connected to fear of Hashem, resembling the above-mentioned trait of Beis Shammai. Like I said, their rulings are very harsh. Not harsh, but very strict. Though this is a concealed and hidden goodness beneath the dominant surface of Gevurah, Hine af shehu toiv haganuz v'tzafon. Af al pi kein hu ra v'gadol ma'od kamay midas hagadola v'hachesed mamish shemidprinas yamin. So, though this is a concealed and hidden goodness, Gevurah, beneath the dominant surface of Gevurah, it is nevertheless truly as abundant and immense as the attribute of Gedula, greatness, and Chesed, kindness, which is the right. Although the element of Chesed within those described as those that fear you is concealed, for their soul root derives essentially from Gevurah, it is latent within them just as abundantly as it is found within those who are essentially of the right. Ushtehen hein bechinas giloi bli gevul umidas v'shiur. Moreover, both degrees of chesed, of kindness, that which is dominant in the souls deriving from the right, as well as that incorporated in the souls deriving from the left, are manifest without limit, measure, or dimension. V'zehu shekasuv ma rav tuvcha. And this is the meaning of the phrase, how abundant is your goodness. Kleimar bli gvul umida bein hatoiv asher tzafanta liresecha uvein asher pa'alta l'chasim bach. And this is the meaning of the phrase, how abundant are your goodness. In example, it applies in both cases without limit and measure, whether it be the goodness which, in the quotes, which you have hidden away for those who fear you, or that which, in quotes, you have wrought for those who trust in you. Not sure the difference exactly. Anyway, so one says, which you have hidden away for those who fear you, and the other one says, you have wrought for those who trust in you. Referring to the trusting ones who derive from the right. So if you trust, from that pasuk is referring to those who are doing a positive mitzvah of like trusting Hashem, so they're from the right, chesed. And those who fear you is more of a function of the left, because they're refraining usually. When you fear Hashem, you refrain from doing things that are evil or seeing things that are evil. That's something that comes from the left side. But something that comes from the right is an active, positive thing, like trusting Hashem. So a person trusts his beloved friend to act in his best interest. In the same way, those whose souls stem from the right and serve God with chesed and love place their trust in Him. And those kindnesses, and whose kindness and goodness are also in a state of manifestation and expansiveness before the sight of men, and by no means in a state of contraction and concealment, kind of like that of the left, like we explained before. V'chasdam v'tuvam hu gam kein b'vchinas giloi v'hispashtus neged b'nei adam v'loi b'chinas tzimtzum v'haster klal. We can now understand why the verse begins by saying, hidden away for those who fear you, and conclude with the manifest state of before man. The verse is alluding to two forms of chesed, in its concealed state as possessed by those who fear you, and in its revealed state as possessed by those who trust in you. Uma shekasuv li reyacha v'kol b'yirecha. The reason the verse says, for those who fear you, which would seem to imply that the chesed from above is granted to them as a reward, rather than those that it says in those who fear you. Hayinu mishum shekol ma shehu bevchinas Helim b'chol neshama. Hine b'chinas zo eina melubeshes toch haguf b'mocho b'libo. So it is that whatever is in the state of concealment within any soul is not vested within the body, in the individual's mind and heart, for they are incapable of receiving it. I got lost, so let me try to reread that. The reason the verse says, for those who fear you, which would seem to imply that the chesed from above is granted to them as a reward, rather than in those who fear you, is that whatever is in the state of concealment within any soul is not invested within the body, in the individual's mind and heart, for they are incapable of receiving it. So a person, because it's in their body, they're not capable of receiving something that's in the state of concealment from within any soul, because it's in the body. Rather, it encompasses the individual from above, so to speak. And from there, it radiates to his mind and heart at those times which require an arousal of the attribute in question, so that it will be aroused and will illuminate his mind and heart in order to result in actual deeds. For example, a person whose charitable contributions are customarily limited will have revealed to him the concealed and infinite attribute of chesed, which will prompt him to give tzedakah unstintingly, like without fail. I actually really like that. Okay, so King David therefore said that whereas the abundance of goodness of the house of Israel, both that which is hidden and that which is manifest, like revealed, is, so to speak, without limit and measure relative to the category of their soul vested in the body. The kindness of a finite creature is by definition limited. However, it may be termed infinite in relation to the soul vested in the body. Therefore, you too, O God, relate to them with the attribute of your unlimitedness and infinitely great chesed, which is of the level known as Gedula, and which is called Rav Chesed, the kindness of Arich Anpin, that utterly transcends the lesser chesed of Zer Anpin. Zer Anpin represents the emotional attributes, and Erich Anpin is at the Kesser level, the crown level of a person, which actually is outside of their body and encompasses their will, like whatever you want in life. That's like the Erich Anpin. And also, so too, there's a higher level of Erich Anpin that's above your body, in the crown level of your body, that's your soul, and it comprises of desire. Whatever is pleasurable to you, that's what you want, usually. Generally speaking, that's what kind of like forms what you want. So those two things are inside the Kesser level, the crown level of a person, and drives our desires and our will to do things. So if you love Hashem, your will is to do his mitzvahs, kind of example, for example. What was my point? So this was just talking about different levels of chesed, and the chesed of Erich Anpin, which is, like I said, above the body, transcends the body. And then there's the lesser chesed, which is Zer Anpin, which is already inside the body, and it represents our 7 emotions. Chesed being, chesed gevura, blah, 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 blah. So that's considered the lesser chesed, the limits of this body. We have a limit within our chesed because of our finite existence, our limited existence that doesn't allow within time and space to be able to give unlimited kindness, from which the worlds evolve by means of the Seder Hishtaushlis. Because everything that is inside of a person actually has a similar reflection in the greater picture of the world and how Hashem made it. So the Seder Hishtaushlis is the order in which Hashem created existence from level to level. So there, for example, there are higher worlds, which is like Atzilas, Bria, Yetzira, and then our world, which is the Siya, that's part of the Seder Hishtaushlis. So the De is chesed ve'is chesed. For there is chesed, and then there is a far higher form of chesed. Is chesed olam. There's chesed olam, literally the kindness of the world. An example, a world-like and hence finite chesed. Because chesed in the world can only go so far, it's limited. Sheyesh kenegdo ulmasai midas hadin chesed v'shalom. Oh, not chesed, chas v'shalom. That has an opposite counterpart, the attribute of din, judgment, of severe justice, heaven forfend. So the opposite of chesed olam is din, judgment. It's a severe justice. So if I did A, then the result of A is B. Like whatever you do in this world, you're going to get a judgment on it. If it's like not a positive deed, so then the result would be the severe justice of that deed. Lama'et ultsamsem chasdoi v'tuvoi, which would diminish and contract God's goodness. Aval chesed elyon hanikra rav chesed. The superior form of kindness, however, which is called rav chesed, great kindness, ein kenagdo midas hadin lama'et ultsamsem rav chasdo melhis pashet bli gvul v'sachlis. So the superior form of chesed, however, which is called rav chesed, does not have the attribute of din opposed to it to diminish and to contract the abundance of God's benevolence from extending without limit or end. For it derives from the level of divinity called sovev ka'amim, which means literally to surround or encompass all the worlds. Ki hu nimshach bevchinas sovev ka'amim utemira dechol tamirin. For it derives from the level of divinity called Sovev Ka'amim, which transcends, literally encompasses all worlds and limitations, and from the level of divinity called Tamira Dekol Tamirin, literally that which is hidden, even from all the hidden worlds. Hanikra Keser Elyon, which is called Keser Elyon, the high supernal height, which by the way is another word for Crown Heights. Keser Elyon is what literally means Crown Heights. Isn't that funny? Yeah, that's today's Tanya. We live in Crown Heights, and it's talking about the level of supernal crown. Tamira Dekol Tamirin. It's that which is hidden, even from all the hidden worlds. V'zehu shekasuv tas tirem b'seiser panecha v'goymer titzpanein b'suka v'goymer. This then is the meaning of the verse which follows our opening quotation, and which continues to speak of those who fear you, and those who trust in you. Hide them in the concealment of your innermost dimension. For as explained above, panim, face, denotes both countenance and inwardness. Conceal them in a sukkah. An example, in the sublime level of chesed, which, deriving from the above-mentioned level of keter, transcends the Seder's hishtalshalis and will encompass them like a sukkah. A sukkah is also like sovev ka'amim, the surrounding kindness of the surrounding all the worlds. And anyway, so the takeaway: God's infinite goodness is designated to be revealed to the man who places his trust in Him.